In this video, I explain the evils of comparing yourself to others, and I try to give you a pep talk. So, the aforementioned pep talk that I said before the intro. I've been doing this for a while. And by this, I don't just mean video stuff, which I've been doing for a while. I mean, technically everything's a while, but what I mean is I've been in the hobby for a while. And because I do this channel and people ask me questions, and I like to answer as many questions as I can on, the comments and things like that down below, I find sometimes common themes that people will come to me with, and there's one in specific that I want to talk about here. I get them pretty frequently. I just got one or two this week, as a matter of fact, which kind of spurred me to make this video. People said to me, they say to me things like this. They say, I went to my local shop to play a game, and the person I was playing against had this amazing looking army, and it really discouraged me because I can't paint like that. Or I've had people who are just starting and getting into the hobby, and they say, I'm just learning to get into the hobby, and I look at these pictures in the magazines, and I look at stuff, like on the covers of the boxes, and I can't paint like that. I'm never going to be able to paint like that. The fact of the matter is that you're probably not wrong. There's very few people in the world who can paint like that. That's why those people get paid to do it, and somebody else gets paid to take the pictures, and someone else gets paid to print them, and they put them on the cover of a box that is then, in theory, sold in countries all over the world. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to get better. That doesn't mean that you'll never get better. That just means that there's a high bar. But you don't have to necessarily, it's not a zero-sum game. It's not, well, I'm either going to be that good or better, or I'm nothing. That doesn't make sense. And in life, when you compare yourself to others that way, when you look at other people, well, this guy's got more money than me, or this guy's got, more hair than me, or whatever, that does nothing for you. There is no benefit in comparing yourself to others in basically any situation that I can think of, at least. It's kind of a thing that I do in my life, is to not compare myself to others. I pay attention to what I'm doing, and I try to please myself with my painting technique and how I'm getting better at it, or my video technique and how I'm getting better at it, or anything else that I want to get into in life. I basically just sit down and focus on, without any outside distractions, this is what I want to accomplish. I want to get better than I was yesterday, and it just goes forward like that. That is, I think, kind of a big secret to life. And within our hobby, it's also a big secret to our hobby. You'll never be as good as that guy, especially if you don't get started. There are people out there who were just born talented. There are people out there who can just draw, or they can just sing. They don't have to have really a lot of training or anything like that, but they can just do it. Now, they may not necessarily do it really well. They probably do it pretty well. But if you see somebody who you can just tell has got some born talent, but they're really at just a completely another level, that's a mixture of born talent and also an amazing amount of practice, an amazing amount of just doing it over and over and over again. The reason you don't want to get discouraged when looking at other people's work that's amazing is because the thing that you don't think about is how much work they had to do to get to where they are right now, and to make this output that you are becoming discouraged by. Let's take a look at Sam. We all love Sam. Sam's showing us how to do cool things here. He's an amazing painter, won a ton of awards. I would bet that there's probably not a day that goes by that he does not pick up a brush and paint. He paints every day. When I did that interview with Tom Ailes, who is the last American Slayer sword winner, Pachow, you can watch it up there. But if you listen to that interview, he paints every day. So when you're a person who's like, man, it's been 3 weeks since I painted it, I'm just not getting any better. Well, yeah, that's the trick. You only get better with practice. Now, I've also talked in the past, in a video several years back, about perfection and the pursuit thereof, and how it's not necessarily something you want to do. Again, Pachow, if you want to check that out. But the trick is that for me personally, I have a level to which I want to paint. And that level is always hopefully going up. But there's also a point where I just go, okay, this is good enough. If you compare yourself to other people all the time, you will always be discouraged because you will always have this unattainable, in many situations, target in the sky to try to reach for. And you can't really get there, especially without taking the time and having the patience. Another big thing that's important in painting, and as it turns out also in life, is patience. Practice and patience. Those are the 2 P's as far as I can tell, because I just made that up. But if you don't have both of those things, you'll not ever kind of grow, and you'll probably stay discouraged. It's important to really understand what you want to get out of this hobby. If you're going to start painting and you want to get good at painting, then you have to practice and you have to keep working on it. Now, I'm not saying don't look at other people's work. You certainly should, because it will inspire you. You will learn things. I've gotten to the point now, at least in some situations, where I can look at models and go, oh, wow, I see. Okay, I get how they did that. That's something that I will, sock away in my brain. And next time I have to paint something like that, I might try that technique. And I don't even necessarily have to see it like laid out on YouTube or in a blog or whatever. There's times that once you've gotten a little bit of experience, you can just look at something and go, oh, they did that. And then that just, because what we're doing is tricking the eye with paint. We're trying to make things look real that aren't. So there are definitely techniques to this. Another thing that people say to me quite frequently is they're just like, well, I just don't have that artistic talent to be able to paint something that small or to do this little thing or to make that whatever. But what a lot of people don't understand who are new to the hobby, and this is something you can understand, is that it's mostly, a lot of it is learned technique. You know what I mean? Like once you learn how to dry brush chainmail, you don't have to go through and paint every single last loop, which a lot of people who don't know the technique behind it will think you have done. They'll look at it and go, wow, you painted every single last little loop on the chainmail pants on that guy. And you're like, well, actually, I just dry brushed it real quick and it worked out really well because you know the technique. Technique is a huge portion of this, and learning more techniques will make you less discouraged because you'll be able to move things up and move along that way. I also find that when I look at really good work, I get inspired because it makes me want to do better because I can see out there that people can do it. None of these people are superheroes. There's no, there was no chemical accident that made Sam into the painter that he is today. It was, some born talent, obviously, and then also an amazing amount of work. So you have to look at it that way. You have to look at it and say, don't be discouraged. Look at it and become inspired. Look at it and go, oh, I see how they did that. Maybe even if you don't see how they did that, maybe if somebody posts something like in the Tabletop Minions Paint Showcase Club on Facebook, if you see something that really inspires you or something that you're really wowed by, it's a communication media. You just type in there and go, wow, that's amazing. How did you do that thing with his gloves? And then they'll go, oh, well, I did this and this and this. And now you know things. You're learning things, and you're going to be less discouraged. You have to look at life, in my opinion, and I'm getting a little philosophical here, but you have to look at life as a constant journey forward. And if you just decide to not move, you're not going to get anywhere.